Hola amigos, it's Will here from Will's Custom Figures, coming at you today with a big bad breakdown of course, some of the all-time wrestling legends we have, starting from left to right. None other than Brutus the Barber Beefcake. We have Spud, aka Drake Maverick. We've got Edge in his Wrestlemania attire. We have Rest in Peace, Luke Harper, aka Brodie Lee. And you can't have any action figure review without having Greg the Hammer Valentine. And guys, please sit back while I talk you through how and why I made this set of classic wrestling figures and all the details in between. So first things first, of course, as you can see from this video, this is a work in progress video. I wanted to film this just to put some nice content up. I'm also starting my new job, so I'm a little bit restricted on time, and I want to try and get a bunch of these in the bag while I can. So I will go through each of these, the process, the base figure that I'm using, and try and give you a little bit of an overview. Hopefully it's helpful. So first, let's start with Brutus. Now, I've got to be a little bit gentle with him because he is actually still raw clay. I haven't had a chance to cook him yet. But as you can see, I've used the Bushwhackers base. I'm not sure whose legs these are. I really can't remember off the top of my head. But is it the Rockers, maybe? I'm not 100% sure. However, as you can see, I think that the arms to go with the Dream Team partner over there, Greg the Hammer Valentine, this is going to look really, really cool when it's complete. This head was sent to me by a good friend of mine, David, and I'm really, really happy with how it's turned out. What a great figure base that this will be using. And as you can see, I've covered from top to bottom the figure in clay, seeing the remnants of the Bushwhackers. Lovely, lovely vest there. But yeah, really cool. So happy with how that looks. And it definitely exudes arrogance, personality, and character. I'm really, really happy to have used the base of the Bushwhackers for this figure. Now, on to Greg the Hammer Valentine. Now, this took many, many hours to make. I don't know if you've seen this, but Google Brutus the Barber Beefcake and Greg Valentine. They were in a team. And Greg had some of the most outlandish, extravagant, beautiful attire that you could ever possibly imagine. So he's got this waistband going all the way around, these huge sleeves coming off, and this great diamond motif. As you can see, it goes down using Super Sculpey again. It's still raw clay around the base here, using on the arms. The head has been fantastically 3D sculpted. And again, I've used the Bushwhackers for this. I think it's the right choice. I'm really, really happy with how it's turned out so far. And I think him and Brutus are going to look great together. Now let's move on to Drake Maverick. Funny story. I saw Daniel Bryan wrestle in Coventry for what wrestling promotion? Triple X Wrestling, I think it was. I was in the audience and Spud, aka Drake Maverick, was sitting next to me during that show. He was still, I believe, a mainly UK known and well-known star just before he broke into TNA and Daniel Bryan went to WWE. But as you can see, I've used a $1 Million Man base. I've covered up and used clay on all of these figures for the clothing. Quite often I find when you're making clothing, I haven't had to do very much with this, but when I'm doing something like Greg or Brutus over here, little imperfections, just shoving it in the biceps there and blending it in with your hands is really, really important, and it adds to the character, the personality, and clothing isn't perfect on anybody. In addition to that, just before I go back to good old Drake, I think it's really, really important when you're sculpting to make sure some of the lines are super sharp. So as you can see, these are layers. I'm not just going to paint on the collar and the bow tie and the sleeves and stuff on Brutus. Now, Drake Maverick, this is a metal head sculpt, really, really good metal head sculpt. I'm very, very happy with it. As you can see, what I mentioned before, nice and very, very specific with working on the collar there. Really happy with how the collar's looking. And of course, he has the bow tie as well. There we go. Looking very, very cool. But great likeness. Really, really like that figure. Can't wait to get him completed. Now, onto, oh God, Edge, stay there. Onto this guy. Rest in peace, Brodie Lee. Man, I wish this guy was still around in wrestling. One of my all-time favourites. Such a big fan of Brodie Lee, aka Luke Harper. Can you imagine what I'd be doing with the Wyatt Six now? And both Bray and Luke gone way, way too soon. But I've used a Brutus the Barber Beefcake base for this. One of the things I'd like to note there is, I think it's a Sergeant Slaughter legs. Yes, it is. You can see inside here if I hold them up. And these, of course, the old school WWF Hasbro figures. Now, the reason I've kept Brutus's scissor hands is because when Brodie came out, he would always sort of do this weird little motif with his hands, and it kind of captures that a little bit on there. I've used Milliput clay to add on these little additions here, and he is indeed cooked and dry clay. He also has a nice little hood at the back here, as well as his man bun. So really, really happy with how that's turned out. And I think it's going to be a great addition to the collection and to pay tribute to a legend. Now, speaking of legends, this is going to be a beast. This, of course, is none other than Edge. As you can see, it's rough around the edges at the moment. I've added on little details like his pockets on the side of his clothing here. The big and the most challenging part of this was all the little dots going down through all the Super Sculpey, but still making it secure. As you can see, it's also on the sleeves here, on the cuffs. Yeah, again, doesn't have to be perfect when you're making custom clothing, guys. Sure that although there's clay just smudged here, there, and everywhere, you know, it does show off his musculature underneath. As you can see, I've made the clay go all the way around the back. I do this in 3 strips, so I will generally rolling pin out a piece of Super Sculpey clay, warm it up, rolling pin it out, and then use that just from here down. And then once I've done that, I'll then work on the sleeves next, and finally I will work on the upper half of the jacket and then just blend it together before cooking it. This is indeed raw clay as well. So yeah, literally just finished sculpting these guys over the last couple of days. Now for this, I think it's a British Bulldog base, as you can tell by some of the colours leaking through there. And I believe it is a Macho Man Randy Savage. And the most challenging part of this was sculpting the skull. Let me just zoom in here. It's a skull made of sort of like steel, and very, very cool, man. All the little details on there. I'm going to spray paint that with metallic silver used for cars. I think that's probably the best thing to do it, so it'll really have that metallic look once it's finished, and then painting everything else on top of it would be the easiest way of completing him. There we go, guys. That has it for this Will's Custom Figures video. Work in progress review, whatever you'd call it. I'm really, really happy with how these figures are looking. Let me know who you're most excited to see in the comment section below. Is it Brutus? Is it good old Drake? Is it Edge, Luke Harper, Brodie Lee, or the one? And of course, the only Greg the Hammer Valentine. I'm really, really excited to get these video reviews put out and to get started painting. So let me know if you want to see anything else from this channel. Lots and lots more content coming. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of this video and if you're looking forward to seeing any of my future customs. Guys, that's it from me. That's it from these 5 very handsome chaps, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Adios.